Okay, so I didn't realize there's going to be a part three, but after I thought about it, there's a few more things I want to show you about models and creating these tools. Um, and they're in this previous one I'd created called Basin. Let me show you what Basin does. Basin, let me open it up here. So Basin is not too much different. It looks the same way in the modeler. A little bit different input. It has coordinates coming in instead of an area. It has points, and then it goes through a few steps and comes out, with a result. And it has we put the style on it also. But what is pretty different about this one, and one of the main things I wanted to show you, is about the field calculator. Not to mention, one of the things I wanted to do is just to show it to you, going through and how you put the tools together and how you're using them, and how you can just sequence them into a model. I'm going to go through this one basically using its steps, and to show you another aspect of the toolbox over here. And this is actually the tools that I've used recently. Okay, and I created this one already, and this one is actually part of the Basin tool. I'll zoom to it, and these are the tools that I used previously to do this. So let's walk through that right now and just show how. Let's see how that works. I'm gonna pick a point up here that I want to show you a basin on. And the first one is this R water. Let me run that for you. And you can see that these things look just like the tools. I mean, this function by itself and part of the toolbox looks just like the tool, and it has these inputs to it. And this one of the inputs to it is the direction. And that's a pre-staged layer that we had previously talked about and showed, that's very critical in the BFE process. Basically, it's critical because of this tool that we want. The very first thing we want to know is how big the watershed is, how big the basin is that affects this location. And we use a direction layer and a stream layer to do that. And the direction layer is the one that it calculates the basin from. And the stream layer is basically where we get the coordinates from, because they come from the same elevation data. Most of these basic basin and hydrology layers are derived from an elevation layer, or DEM, digital elevation model. So I'm going to select a point. Let's just select this point right here. And really, that's it for this tool. I'm going to run it. There we go. So that tool outputs a raster file called output, and this is what it looks like. This is the basin. It derived that from the direction layer. However, it doesn't let us get square miles from it, and that's what we're interested in. We're actually interested in determining the square miles of the basin. So that's not going to be the only thing we can do. The only step. Then we have to do the next step, which is change it to a vector file. And to do that, we're going to use the polygonize tool. So we're going to use the output here. It just comes, the name of the field comes from the layer. Let's see here, open. Is there an attribute table to that layer? Is there an attribute table to, I don't see one. So no. So let's polygonize, use the output, band 1, name of the field to create. We're just going to say the default DN. So let's run that now. Okay, and here's that output. We just changed it to vector. Let's zoom to that. Let's try to open that. Oh, it does have an attribute table. What's in it? Well, really nothing, because we haven't added anything to it. Not to mention the fact that the square miles hasn't been calculated yet. So now we're to the point, especially if you look at the previous tool, we ran the R water outlet and the polygon eyes where we need to do the field calculator. So let's do that. And to do that, we open up the vector files attribute table. And then we go to this selection here, which is open field calculator. Now the field calculator works on all vector files. And look how many of the tools and variables are associated with the field calculator in the field. I mean, there's a lot of mathematical functions in here, operators, string functions, you name it, date functions. You can do a lot of different things with this. It's like it says, it's a calculator. But what we're interested in is this one called geometry, because the geometry is in the shapefile. So it's you know, it knows its location, it knows where it's at. There's a lot of information stored just in that vector file. And the one that we're interested in right now in the geometry, let's hit general. In the geometry is this one. It's called area, and it's almost at the top. But look at all these different geometry things that you can select to do functions inside of an attribute table. You know, and if this is just one shape, but if you had a shape that had hundreds of shapes, polygons in it, you would be working on every one of those too. It would fill in every one of those fields. The field that we're going to do here, we're just going to select area. We're going to tell it to, the name of the field is square miles. I want it to be a decimal number to 2 places, and I want it to calculate the area. So I'm going to hit OK. And look, it pops it right in there. It creates a new field and puts it in there. So now I'm able to do, I'm going to save it now that I'm not editing it. And then I'm going to open it and do a style. No, I'm going to go under properties. This is how you do it interactively, and select the style. In this case, I created one that was for the basin, and one that actually put the label on there because I wanted it to be visible as soon as I did it. And that's it. That we did the manual process for creating the basin square miles function tool, and we did that interactively. And we also used the field calculator to calculate the square miles of this polygon. So let's do one now as the model. We'll walk through it that way. We'll go down here. I'm going to select on this tool. Very first thing it wants is the coordinate. This time we're going to select that. We'll just select this one here. What's the flow direction? Okay, that's this layer right here. Let's run it. So this is the tool. This is the steps it saves whenever we run it. And it calculates the square miles, and then it creates a label for it. And sometimes when we're doing the BFE process, I actually do this very thing that it's showing right here. I need to do multiple. I will select multiple points in a vicinity to see how them basins look. So this is a basin. Let's turn this off. And this is a basin. And this encompasses all of them. So we can see how those things drain. So I think we've had a pretty good, demonstration on these tools and how functional they are. And like I said, the one thing I wanted to show you in this particular example that is very powerful and can make models even more relevant to your process is this idea of a field calculator, because you can interact with it. in this way. I mean, you can set these variables up too. This is actually the field calculator, how it looks inside the model. It has a lot of the same fields, has the default and things like that. You know, we're calling it this, and then here's the formula down here. And we'll need to get into formulas later because, you know, you need to know to make GIS a tool that benefits you. You need to know how to link these little formulas together, not only in this model, but in this formula toolbox. And we'll show you an example of that. Maybe there'll be a part 4. So anyway, we'll wait and see. But that's all I have for now. Thank you.